Good afternoon, everyone. All right, so everybody would have submitted their introduction videos from before. And the reason for doing this is because there are so much persons in the class. And if we try to do everyone to do introduction on the first day, right, basically what would happen is that, we really won't get anywhere in the class. So everything that I say from now on is a teachable moment, right? I'm not going to say anything just out of just saying its sake. And everything that I teach from now on, everything that I say is not just for showing off, for want of a better word. If I'm going too fast, because I know we have persons who are not Trinidadians, we have some Jamaicans, we have some Bajans. If I'm going too fast, please unmute your button, right? This is not one of those sessions where you can't say anything. Unmute your button and let me know that you didn't get that, right? Which is fine. So, as I said before, my name is Stephen Edwards and I'm a film, movie, television and theater producer, director, writer, actor, voiceover artist, and social entrepreneur. What's the purpose of this course, right? Basically, I expect, right, that you all will work as if you paid $1 million for this course. Because you know what? I prepare this course as though it's $1 million that you've paid. So I expect that persons will do their very best. I expect that persons will come to class, come prepared, and will do what is necessary, all right, to get the job done. Everybody have fish to fry. Everybody has a busy life. Everybody has, but you were given the option to opt out before this course started. The fact that you're here says that you were willing to make the commitment, and now that you're here, I expect that to hold you up to that commitment. If we look around the world quickly, what is happening? All right, we're going through a period of COVID-19. There's a lot of availability of online content. Things like Netflix shares have gone through the roof because right now people want stories. People have time. They are connected more than ever before. If you look at this very same class, we are here from all over the world, right, into this one class. But if you go to Netflix now, how many Caribbean stories can you find? If you find one, you find plenty, right?
Yeah.
And the issue is that many times when Caribbean people are portrayed, right, in a class, in a movie, it's done from somebody else's perspective. So one of the reasons for me doing this course is that I believe that as Caribbean people, we need to tell our own stories, right? We need to be able to be in charge of our own stories and tell our own stories, because nothing has been worse when we're watching and everybody knows it. You hear Jamaican accent and you know that, hey, that person not Jamaican, right? Or they do a Trinidadian accent and it's the worst thing ever. And it's like, oh my God. So you couldn't find, I mean, if you go to Brooklyn, you don't miss anything. Brooklyn, if you go to Brooklyn, that is the worst place in the United States of America to ever go on vacation because you've gone home. You're bound to see somebody, from some neighborhood, right? You don't miss the music, the food, everything is there in Brooklyn. It's not for a lack of availability of actors or availability of persons to talk the accent, is that they just don't want to tell your story. And you can't expect, anybody else to tell your story but you. So one of the reasons I'm doing this is that I think that Caribbean stories need to be told because there's too much influx of outside influences, right, that are eroding our values more and more every day, right? For those of us who are a little older, you know that you couldn't go in your room and slam your door when your mother talked to you. That was a never. But look at how many children are doing that now. Where did they learn that from? That's from the television. That's from the stories that they are being fed, right? So that has a lot to play in our culture being eroded. Another thing that has happened a lot, I don't know if it's happening in Jamaica and Barbados and so on, but in Trinidad, right, we do school tours. And when we have to perform, the children are speaking with an American accent, and these children have gone nowhere. They have never left Trinidad and Tobago, but all of them is Toko Tim, Toko Tim. And it's like, be like, Toko Tim, you understand? Because in Trinidad, that is how we speak. Toko Tim. So the thing about it is that I don't know if any Jamaicans or any Bajans or anything, let me know if there's a problem that you all are having as well.
Yes, it's true.
Right? Yeah, we are little by little, we are losing our culture because our stories are not being handed down, right? In a context and in content that is today's world, right? We have to face it, we are living in a digital world, right? Everything is on the palm of the hand. We still fighting up watching TV as people over 40, but I have my two kids here who are 10, who are 13 and 18. They don't watch TV. So when we watch TV is because we come together to watch a movie, but all their time is spent in the palm of their hand. And all the content, all the stories that they get, right, is delivered that way. So if we, as a society, as a people, do not continue to deliver content in the times and fashions that is happening around us, we are going to continue to lose our standards. We are going to continue to lose our, and the thing about it is that anytime we go away, right, an American always want to hear you talk. Oh gosh, talk some Trini for me now, talk some Jamaican for me now, talk some Bajan. We have so much influence on the outside world, but yet we don't ever use that influence to tell our stories, to get our messages across. We have been somehow duped into thinking that everything foreign is better. And so even if you're looking at, I don't know how many of you, some of you all said that you have experience in media. The local television stations will purchase US television series, but will want to charge you to put a local program on the station. And TV is not even a medium, right? But that is the reality of what we are facing, that we have been taught that everything that is outside is good. And what we develop here, right, is not good enough. And when I say we, I'm talking about the Caribbean region. So there are stories that we need to tell, right? So we need to start taking back our power, right? And I think this is my contribution and one of my purpose is to start seeing Caribbean stories, you know what I mean, start infiltrating, if we want for a better word, the US market, the India. Bollywood is, do you know that Bollywood is the biggest entertainment industry? Hollywood is third, eh? It's Bollywood, Nollywood, then Hollywood, by sheer population alone. So if Nollywood could, you ever, I don't know how many of you all into Nigerian movies. When you go to buy a Nigerian movie, the wall stack are people that you don't even know, you have never heard of, actors that you don't know their name, but people are into those stories. Where is Carrywood, Caribbean Hollywood, right? Nothing. So my purpose for doing this course is to ensure that more and more stories continue to come out of the Caribbean, right? Because it needs to be told. Right, so expectations. A lot of you all talk about coming to learn something, and that's really, really nice. I'm really glad that you all want to learn, but here's the thing. My expectation is that you all will be part of productions no more than 30 days after you graduate. I'm not teaching this for you all to have knowledge and to have an experience. I am a producer. first and foremost, right? So I am very big on production, right? I am very big on we producing stuff. And this is not like a long time, right? If it was 20 years ago, I'd say, yes, you have to wait until somebody greenlight us, a script and so on. But I have shot stuff with my cell phone and entered that into film festivals and won, right? So it can be done. We have the technology now. If you have a high-end phone, there's a lot that you can do and you can accomplish with just your phone. But we have to start somewhere. So at the end, my expectation for this class is not just for you all to graduate and say that you've had a nice experience and well, I've learned to act with Steve Meadows. No, right? And this goes regionally. So I'm not just saying, and when I say regionally, I know we have some persons who are in Nevada, who are in the US, you're from the Caribbean. So I'm talking about regionally, right? And that's it. For those of you all who are in those much larger markets, I expect that, you all will be able to benefit. So great. So that is my expectation. My expectation is that 30 days after you all graduate, something will be produced. Good. We do have other classes available. I do have a production director course, right, which is a paid course. I also do have one-on-one sessions, which would be paid sessions. However, take advantage of what is available now, all right? Okay, let's move on. All right, understanding stories in mediums. All right, so we have different mediums, right? Some of you all here, so I think a couple of persons mentioned that they were writers. Do we have any writers here? Any persons who write novels? I think Naja, if I remember correctly, Naja is right. Is Naja here in the session?
Yeah. Hi, right. I am here, yes. Yeah,
Good.
I am a writer.
Right, Naja, you are a writer. So Naja, who is a person, that tells a story when you are a writer?
The narrator.
Right, the narrator. So the person who writes the story is the person who's telling the story, correct?
Not really.
Not really?
No.
Okay. Why you disagree?
Because the narrator is not really the writer. The narrator is an entity that the writer employs to tell the story, but not always the narrator has the same views as the writer. It's a whole voice in and of itself.
Okay. So if you don't write those words, can the story be told?
Fair enough.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. So we have to understand mediums, right? When it comes to prose, the person who writing is the person telling that story. Good? That's the person whose words, what does prose activate? Anybody else? Naja talk already. Anybody else? What does prose activate? When we're reading, what is activated?
Your imagination.
Excellent. Excellent answer. Your imagination, right? So let us say, and because we have so many women in this class, I did this for you guys, right? The storyteller is the author. The author accesses the imagination of the audience with descriptions. The words accesses senses by description, but we can all imagine different things, right? So let us say, if it is, the writer said, he was tall, dark and handsome, brown skin, black hair, and very well dressed.
I'm sorry?
You all could imagine anything there, right? All these men there fit that description. But what is handsome to Naja might be different to Nicole, might be different to Bernice, might be different to Daniela, right? Everybody has their own take on what is considered to be handsome, right? So the imagination is what is accessed in prose, right? Understanding the stories. Who are these storytellers in film, right? The storytellers in film is
Thank
the
you.
camera. Somebody,
Appreciate it. Bye.
meet up. Right. The storyteller in film is the camera, because the camera allows you to see what it is shooting and nothing else. You understand that? So in film, actors are not as important because film is a picture or a moving picture medium. You could be a part of the story, but the story doesn't necessarily have to revolve around you. The story could be around a dog, right? So, this is the same film, the same scene. This is shot from two perspectives. This is the exact same scene, but one is shot from the scene of the man, right? And one is shot from the scene of the woman. Depending on the editor, that will allow you to see the perspective of which the story is told. Everybody follow me so far? Right? So understanding the mediums in which we operate, right, is very important. So the acting that is required for film is a bit different to what is acquired for theater, right? Theater, the main storytellers, this is where actors shine because we live. I can say what I want in rehearsals as the director, right? If you go and you say anything else, it live, there's no way for me to stop that. Everybody following what I'm saying? So everything has to happen, right? Happens on the stage. So the actors are an essential part of storytelling on stage, where these actors are seen, unseen, in animate or live. Because we have puppeteering on stage as well, right? So on stage, you don't necessarily have to be something that is live for the story to be about you. They create emotions, connections, suspension of belief, transform a single space into experience that is immediate. So this is where I want to stop a little bit and kind of concentrate on, right? One of the things that you're supposed to leave here to be able to do, right, is suspend the belief of somebody. As an actor on stage, you must be able to make somebody feel that what is happening here is real. They must forget that they come to see a play, right? They must forget. And once they're able to master theater acting, the rest is sockeye. And that's why I always teach theater first, right? Because if I'm doing a movie, right, and I can say, all right, you know what? You look like this character. Talk this way from me, talk that way from me. All right. I can put you into that movie and just let you really be yourself. You as the audience really wouldn't know, right? That person is not acting, they're just being themselves. And that's why casting directors are so important in the movie industry. You cannot have that on a theater stage because if you cannot act on theater, it's found out. It's found out, and especially in comparison with other persons. Because what you find happening is that in theater, you find you're listening to one actor, and then this person, somehow or the other, they're taken away from the scene. Conversely, what is happening on the stage, your eyes aren't limited, right? So one of the things that I try to do is you know, always check out different live shows and that kind of stuff. So this particular show here, this show is Marvel Live. I actually went to see this, right? And I remember the scene. Now, this scene is Wolverine, for those of you who are comic aficionados, right? Fighting two guys. There were other persons on the screen at the same time, and there was a big fighting scene, right? But I wanted to watch Wolverine, but there was other people fighting on the stage, and their fighting was good too. And it was like, I couldn't decide what I wanted to see, because that fight was looking good, but these other people flipping and all kind of thing, boy. And as a participant, right, I was out of my mind. That choice is made for you on film, because the camera will only pick up one scene that they choose at a time. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Yeah, it makes sense, right? So unless, all right, now, good. I sent you all today a song, right? To close your eyes and play a song. Did everybody play? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 What you felt when you heard the song?
Discuss.
Okay, very good. Let me hear another one. Somebody say discuss. What else?
So funny. I found it funny.
Somebody found it funny. Somebody else?
Yeah, like silly funny.
Silly funny. All right.
I was
Okay.
just curious.
Why you all felt that way?
I felt curious
Okay, you felt curious, right? Why you felt that way?
because, well, when I listened to it first, it sounded different from the second time I listened to it.
Okay. So what did sound like the second time?
It sounded like a fart the second time.
It sounded like a fart the second time.
But, but
How
I
many
guess
of you all
that's
find it sound like a fart?
I
Anybody
found-
else found like it sounded like a fart?
I
Yeah, I
thought
found it sounded
Not for
It
me.
was a fart. That's what it was. I sent you a fart. This is the kind of class that you I send you fart songs. That's what I do. Good? It was a fart.
I felt like
But here's the thing, right?
disgusted.
You knew it was a fart because it's a universal sound that you are familiar with. And that sound that you are familiar with brings a certain sensation to your mind. You have associated that sound with embarrassment. You have associated it with disgust. You have associated, if it was a gunshot, right? But suppose a gunshot used to sound like a fart and a fart sound like a gunshot. You'd have felt this different way about the sound. So when we're doing sound, right, we associate sounds that are familiar with an experience. So when you're doing acting for sound and you're doing voice, it's very, very important that you understand what different tones bring to your audience. Everybody understand what I'm saying? That is how powerful sound is, right? If it was some weird song, you'd say, what is that? But you know what a fart sounds like, and you know what a fart does. So a fart smells. So when you play that, it's like, what class is a fart? Right? But that could only elicit that particular emotion because you're very familiar with it. Everybody understand what I'm saying? So tones are very important when we start talking about acting for voice and acting for sound. How we use our tone is very, very important. And the thing about sound is when you're doing acting for sound, is that your voice is the only thing that you have to guide the person. So you're using your voice to elicit certain emotions. When it is you resonate the bass in your voice, right? It makes the audience feel a particular way. When you go high and nasal, right? It makes the audience feel a particular way. And you being able to manipulate that sound in your voice is what I'm going to teach, right? When we're doing voiceover, right? That is what we call acting for sound. Because remember, a long time ago, we only had radio. So I am probably the oldest person here, or well, I don't know if anybody older than me, but I remember on a Sunday evening when I was by my grandparents, I used to sit down on a Sunday evening and listen to the radio and hear them tell stories, right? And that was a medium that is still very effective today, because a lot of those stories I could remember. It is part of my psyche. Just as you can associate a song with a fart, people associate stories with sound. So we're going to go one little further, right? The only instrument the actor uses is their voice to activate that association with imagination. Pauses cannot be too long because those silences cannot be transferred to other senses. What I mean by that is there cannot be a long pause. Everybody seen me on video here?
Yep.
Right. Now, if I do so or I do so, you are not disengaged because you can see my facial expression. If I take off my video and I were to do that, right, you'd be disengaged because there's nothing connecting you. So even when we have to do pauses, right, it cannot be for too long. And it has to be purposeful, and there's some sort of sound, most times underlining, right? So when we're talking about acting for sound, right, that's a totally different skill. But what you find happening is because we have now integrated a lot of mediums, persons need to be able to be very fluid. Right, so you have to take some of your theater experience and put it in your film. You have to take some of that theater experience and put it in your voice. You have to put that voice experience and put it in your film, right? So you find that now more and more you're going to need to be more of a hybrid performer because we have such an integration of mediums right now. Everybody follow me? A boring all there?
No.
Oh, okay, well, at least I ain't boring one person, so. All right, so what sound will trigger this series of scenes? Anybody?
Say that again.
Jonique.
Repeat the question, please.
What sound will trigger this series of scenes? Jonique. What sound will trigger this series of scenes?
For the first one, unless, silence, I think. So that's even. The second one to your right is more like a suspense. So he probably hear like other dogs barking in the distance. So he's like raising up to see what's going on. The toilet one, I don't know what sound. Is that a toilet?
So this is one series of scenes, right? And this is a dog sleeping. But if you knock that dog pan, bang, 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 yep, that dog ears will jump up. He will realize food is available and run and come and eat the food. Just by knocking that song twice. So everybody understand the way that song triggers movement and action. So when it is you're a voice actor, right, you have to start you would be using your song to trigger certain actions. You can make people cry with your voice, make people fall in love with you with your voice, right? I have a director here. Oh gosh, when he had to introduce himself, is the best radio voice he does ever hear. Of course, right?
Thank you very much, Stephen.
I didn't call no names, brother. I did not call any names. Apparently you're guilty, right? Right? But you have to make your sound, right, create a particular movement. Yeah? Good. So I told you guys that I'm a producer, right? So in theater, right, the producer is the person who comes with an idea or a theme for a live entertainment, So we're talking about the rules that I have, right? And this is for you to understand where your role fits in everything. As a producer, when we're talking about theater, there's somebody that has an idea or a team for live entertainment. So for instance, I can't dance to save my life, right? I cannot dance whatsoever. Good? I want to do a dance show. There's nothing stopping me from producing a dance show. I can produce a dance show. I want to do a dance show on, let's say, the evolution of slavery, right? So I am somebody who comes with an idea to do a live show. That is my job as a producer when it comes to theater. When it comes to movie, right? It's the idea of a movie or concept, or the concept of a movie. So I want to do a, right? I want to do a movie of about, I don't know, this Jamaican girl who falls in love with this Trinidadian boy, and their Bajan pair, they run across the Barbados to try and escape, right? This boy from Brooklyn who was a drug dealer who trying to kill the boy because he feel that that's his woman and nobody should take his woman, right? So that's the idea of the movie or the concept of a movie. I don't have no script, but I'm the producer. I'm the person who have an idea. So I bring in that to the format, and I want to be able to produce a movie, right? So I want you to understand how the different roles work. And for our podcast, or what we'll think is a topic for our audio format, right? I want to do a show on 4 persons in a maxi or in a small bus or a minivan going to town, and they're from different nationalities, right? How will that sound, right? So that's the job of a producer. So a producer is someone who comes in theater. A theater producer comes up with a live show, a theme, a concept. The person who has to find the money. That's the next thing. The producer is the person who has to find the money to get it done. Normally through sponsorship, financing, self or otherwise, right? So that is me wanting to do, I can't dance, but I want to do a dance show. I feel that a dance show will make it. And so I responsible now for going around, getting sponsorships, hiring people, getting directors, right? And making this thing happen. Everybody follow so far? Yeah?
Yes.
All right. The theater director. So we're getting more and more into theater right now, right? So the theater director, that's the person who's responsible and accountable for the look and the feel of the live experience, right? As a theater director, I am the person, even though, like for me, I don't know anything about technical theater. I don't know about lights. I don't know about sound. I don't know about what they call them, cape in the back of the, I don't know nothing about technical theater, and I don't want to know. This is what I want. I want when that actress come and she stand up in the middle there, a blue light come on, and the music hit, bam. That is what I want. Whatever you have to do, right, to get that to happen, that doesn't concern me. He's the person, or she's the person who is in charge of the end product, right? They don't have to know the technical stuff, but they will now say, well, all right, they will have persons like the stage managers, the sound effects, all the different things will be working under them, right? And they now will know their specializing. So for those of you who are both actors and directors, right, and think that you always have to learn every and all assets about theater, that will take a very long time. And if you want to produce work, better you just be a good director and know exactly what you want and have those people work under you, right? And most of those people come under recommendation, right? So their responsibility is the delivery style of the actors, right? So when you're an actor and you're acting for stage, you're getting the directions from the director, right? That is the boss. That is the person who says, well, I want you to say it this way, right? Now, you as an actor could have an idea, right? Nobody's saying that you can't have an idea. Excuse me. You'll find some directors who might be open to hear your ideas. You might find some directors who are not so open to your ideas. If your job is to play this particular role, and the director says, well, this is what they want to, how they want to do it, you kind of have to know the director that you're working with. And the thing about it is that you could be doing something for 10 years. Each director is different. I am what you call an actor's director because I'm an actor. So I am very, very picky about how I want persons to feel in a scene, right? So I will tell you, listen, I want this, this is this. And you can tell me, well, you know, when I was, yes, that is good, but this is what I want. I am very specific. So I mightn't be the best director to barter with. There are some directors who are very open and, right? And you can give your ideas then, right? But you have to know, right, okay, if this is what the director wants, my job as the actor is to deliver what the director wants. If it is, you feel that you cannot deliver, or you feel that you are in disagreement of providing what the director wants, then your job is to then say, all right, I don't think I could do this part because I don't think I'm the right fit for it. But from the minute you decide that, yes, you're going to take that job, right? The director is the person who you have to listen to. Now, I'm a director. I'm also an actor. Sunday, I was asked to do a storytelling, right? When I come to do that storytelling, and this is somebody who was a student of mine, right? The first thing I asked her was, are you happy with what you saw? Is there anything that you want to change? What are you going for? Because in that particular scenario, I'm the actor and she's the director. Once I agree to do something for you, then you have to do it the way that the director wants it. If the director is happy and say yes, well then, okay, great. But if they want it a different way, right? And that is the way that you know that, all right, listen, I don't feel comfortable doing this way, then better you opt out of the job. And plenty times, that is what has caused a lot of the friction between directors and actors. Because plenty times, an actor might want to do something in a particular way, but you have to understand that when it is you're acting, your job is to deliver what the director wants, because that's the person who is entrusted with putting out the vision. Yeah? So that's really important, because as actors, I know some of you all will be getting into little tiffs with directors, and that's okay. It's all good that we could agree to disagree, right? But at the end of the day, your job is to deliver on stage what the director's vision is, right? Right, a playwright. A person who writes with the understanding of a story to be told through characters in a present time. And when I say a present time, it's something that is happening live, right? Not necessarily timeline. So when I say present time, I don't mean like in 2020. When I say present time, I mean it's happening at this particular time. So it's happening live on stage. So you could be doing a play in the 1959, but you have to understand as a playwright, you don't have the luxury, like when you're doing a movie, right, to do multiple videos. So for instance, in a play, you'd probably have to do a monologue of where the actress describes the rape, right? In a movie, you could just do a flashback of her being raped. You understand? You have to, a playwright has to understand the limitation of what he has in front of him. But there's something about playwriting that affects the immediacy of emotion. And so many persons, like when they went to a play and they really enjoy it, always ask, you know, I could get a recording of that play. And when they go to show it to the person, it's like, it never was the same. It's like, oh, good. I can't explain it. I can't. Live, right? Live is just like, it's just that, right? It's produced to be live. And even if you're recording a live event, there's a different way to record a live event. You don't take wide shots because it's that intimacy you want with your audience. Is that right nearness? So when you and the thing about theater acting, why it's so beautiful, you get that feedback from your audience one time. You know when the audience think you did a good job because the whole places get quiet. Everything is like time to slow down, right? And you know, well, okay, I could go in for the kill now, right? So this is where we are now. Here we are, guys. Theater actors, who you will be in 4 weeks, right? And this is 1 out of 4. So in 3 weeks' time, this is what you all are going to be. You're going to be an actor who is adept in becoming a character, portraying your needs, your desires, your ambitions, your emotions, and goals, but can manipulate the live audience. See that word? When you're a theater actor, right, you have a lot of power that you need to understand and never abuse, right? You have the power to make people feel what you want them to feel according to the storyline. You can make people fall in love with you. You can make people hate you and want to kill you, all in the space of 5 minutes. Like they don't understand, right? According to how well you do the role, people wouldn't want to shake your hand after, right? And this is things that I saw with actresses, right? Where people don't want to, because she played a seductress and there was a married woman, they don't want to shake that actress hand. I'm not coming to talk to you, but they know it's a play they come to see, right? They know they came to see a play, but you see that suspense of imagination, you see that power is something you must never ever abuse. An actor, a theater actor is different to an entertainer, right? An entertainer is somebody like Marshall Montano, Beanie Man, I'm trying to think of a Bajan. Give me a Bajan artist there. I know we have a Bajan on board. Give me a Bajan artist.
Groupie.
Who?
Alison Hines.
Alison Hines. Good, great, good. The difference between what you do and what they do is that they get energy from the audience.
Right.
So Marshall will come and he'll say, ha, ha. But if nobody move, he could be how excited, it doesn't move the crowd, right? That's an entertainer. An actor makes the audience move. You make people cry. You make people laugh. You make people feel these things. That's the power you have as a theater actor. And when you understand how to translate that theater actor training into other mediums, it makes you powerful. That's why people like Al Pacino, Anthony Hopkins, Denzel Washington, all those people, they seem so brilliant on film. So now that we're talking about theater acting, I always wanted to know if it is Winnie Caribbean could have stand up to Broadway, right? So one time I went to New York and I bought tickets and I carried my wife and saw Denzel Washington live on stage, Denzel Washington. So you can imagine your boy feeling like a shilling, You know, I drop asleep. I drop asleep watching Denzel Washington perform live. And between sleep and wake, I hear Denzel ask for line while he was delivering his lines. I heard the first time and I wake up. I was like, what? And then he was saying the lines again, and then he say line. And I was like, in Trinidad, we would never do that. But you see, again, we have been taught or conditioned to think that everything outside there is so much better than us that we could never compare. And I'm telling you, the reason why I'm doing this course is because I do believe that people will be moved by our stories. But we have to tell it the right way. We have to tell it in a way that people could understand. We have to tell it in a way that people could identify. You see, I send you a fart song, every single person could identify with what a fart is. That's a universal theme. A fart does the same thing in Jamaica, it does the same thing in Nevada, it does the same thing in Trinidad. A fart is universal, right? So that's why you were sent a fart today. Thank God for farts. Yeah? Okay. So at this point, I want to stop a little bit, right? And I want to open up a little bit of discussion about what is your understanding of where you can be or where you should be after this course.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So where do I expect to be after this course? I think, well, before we started today, I was really very excited. I had said on the introductory video that I have experience in media, and theater is the only thing that I really don't have experience in. So I expect that by the end of this, I'm going to be an actress.
Excellent.
I think that's the best way to put
Excellent.
it.
Excellent. And my boy, you're on video there already, so you might as well say something there. You're done there.
Yeah, man. Hi, good evening, everyone. Yeah, well, as I said in my video, I have no experience, but I definitely think that by the time I'm done with this, I should be able to hold my own. I should be able to see this as something that I could go into and you know, maybe participate in a little production or, you know, film.
And no such thing as a little production. You only have productions. So don't ever say that word to me ever again. Don't ever tell me little. Nothing is a little production, right?
All right, sir.
Ban only from that word.
Big time.
Good. Good. All right, great. Let me get somebody from Leo. I ain't seen you at all, Leo.
Good, sir.
Yeah, Leo, tell me something.
Well, where I see myself of this.
Leo, I
and as I write drama, so I see myself, you know, improving in the writing, as well as I usually partake in drama. So I see myself becoming more struggling in how I am the character after last happened to Lenny, all the other fast and test of what
you're cracking up a little bit there. So I heard something about you're trying to do it in a more professional way. I think that's what you said.
Having a bit of audio issue.
Okay, all right. Okay, cool. All right. So guys, here's the thing, right? We all know how COVID has affected theater, right? People can't come out to auditoriums, but it doesn't mean that we cannot perform on stages, right? And pretty soon, especially, we have an opportunity in the Caribbean, because our COVID cases tend to be so much lower than the other parts of the world. We have the a unique opportunity to start doing shows, right? Before everybody else. And even if we do shows and we can do it online, I have hooked up with some persons in South Africa and also New York to try and start an international online theater festival. And it is my hope that graduates from this class would get themselves together and we would bring a couple of productions into that theater festival. It's going to be a little while away, but that is my intention, right? So everything that I teach, I try to teach in layers. Everything that I teach, you're going to use it. So don't ever take anything that I say for granted, any lesson that I do for granted. And when you do miss a class, you will be missing a lot because it's going to be very difficult for you to catch up, right? So that there was the introduction. We are finishing at 8 o'clock promptly because I know some of you all are tired and it is the end of the day. And Tash done shaking she head like, oh God, I know how much of this I could take again, right? Right? But I want to do some actual classes on acting itself, right? I don't want that we finish today and I've just introduced to you all the industry and what it is, right? So buckle up, we're going in. Acting on stage, let's go. Why theater? All right, so this is what theater is going to do for you. Theater is going to help you find your voice. For many of you all, you don't know that, you know, I also use the video as an evaluation tool to see how you all would speak and how you all will communicate. Theater is very, very important to help you find your voice, right? And you'd be able to, if you, now, unfortunately, we cannot do it in front of each other, but once you master standing in front of people, you'll never be afraid of a camera in your life, right? You'll never be afraid in front of a camera in your life, right? Theater helps you resolve a lot of emotional issues. And this is true. For a lot of the stuff that you're dealing with, you'll find yourself having to deal with issues, and even how you approach that is going to be very important, because you could either run from it or you could embrace it. And what happens with persons is that when they find themselves having to do a scene that is sad or with too much emotion, they think that people could see them. So you find that what happens is that you start to shy away from those emotions. And it's those things that you have not dealt with for years, and that you keep neglecting and you keep forgetting, and you say that those are the things that will come up when you do theater. And it helps you discover who you are. Right? And this is no joke. Just from the way I see somebody portray a particular character, I can tell a lot about them, right? That is a gift. I can't explain how that is work, right? And theater helps you express what you feel, right? And theater creates the foundation for other forms of acting. And that's why I always do theater acting first, right? Because it helps you deal with your emotions, helps you deal with expressing how those emotions come across. Yeah? Good. All right, let me see. Right, finding your voice. You have to be distinct, clear, free-flowing, loud, and have proper pause. We say the Duke of Cornwall falls in love with Princess Pat. When you speak, right, in theater, you're speaking to the last person at the back of the theater. Right now, you're right in front of your computer. And because you're so close to your computer, you have a tendency to speak very quietly. But if I was to ask, let me see, Maya, go back to the fence there, right? And answer me. Call your name.
Beverly.
Beverly?
Yes.
Good. All right. I don't know why your phone says Maya, but okay.
Yeah.
Beverly, Good.
I'll fix that.
Right. You notice, if she had to speak to me right there, she would not have spoken so loud. In theater, you have to be loud all the time. When you have a character, that character must have a distinct voice. So for instance, when I play a character called Tuku Tim, I have a very high nasal voice. And that's how I speak as Tuku Tim all the time. When I play Goliath, my voice is very bassy, very loud, and very aggressive, right? There's a huge difference between those two characters, but those are two very distinct characters. In theater, you must always be clear, even when you're speaking with an accent. Okay, I asked earlier if anybody doesn't understand what I am saying. Is there anybody having trouble understanding what I am saying? Please just, nobody? But I'm speaking with a Trini accent. You understand? Speaking clearly has nothing to do with the accent that you're speaking, right? There's a difference between accent and dialect, right? So when I'm speaking with an accent, even though I'm speaking with an accent, I should always be clear. My words should always be clear. When you're doing theater, your words need to always be clear. Nobody, and this is the most embarrassing thing could ever happen to you on a stage. When somebody say, "What did you say? What you said? We're not hearing." That is the most embarrassing thing could ever happen to you on a stage. Right? You also have to be free-flowing. Free-flowing doesn't mean that you're fast, but everybody has a rhythm in which they talk, especially Trinidadians. We speak as though we sing, right? So it's like, if you just take that last conversation, that last thing that I said, we speak as though we sing. You can put a soca beat behind that. We speak as though we sing, right? That's how we speak. And so you have to be very careful about the pattern in which you speak on a stage. Yeah? Because what happens to your ears after a while, it gets locked off. So you hear patterns. So if the person is delivering the lines and they're singing like da 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 da, what is going to happen is that the audience is not going to hear anything that they say after a while. Bajans speak very choppy, a hard 10 and 2 5s, right? So when that choppiness, right, even though that might be in your natural accent, when you're on stage, you have to be free-flowing, right? Jamaicans tend to speak very rapid and very aggressive, but many times that is, especially those who are in offices, that's not the way they speak. If you hear my friend who's Jamaican, she's talk about, she says she have a very bougie accent. So when you hear a Jamaican bougie, it's something else, right? It's a much more free-flowing way of speaking. So you have to be very careful when you're on stage, because you have to remember, you're not speaking just for a Jamaican audience. And this is what I want us to start thinking about. You're not going to just be speaking with a local audience. You have to start thinking now globally, so that if it is, I am coming to see a Jamaican play, I must be able to understand what it is, unless it is uniquely Jamaican and is done in Jamaican dialect. Because there are sometimes you do a play according to your dialect, right? Now, it's for me who is the audience now to say, well, all right, I want a unique cultural experience, so I'm coming to watch this Jamaican show. But if you're doing something for the international market, then you have to understand your speech has to be free flowing. That even if you're speaking in an accent, people must be able to understand that flow. Everybody get me? Right? And the last thing is to have proper pause. That is very important because that displays emotion. So when that pause is the anticipation of what you're going to say and what brings the audience in. Because you see, if I just pause on you just so, you always will be willing to, yeah, you see, you're waiting to hear what I had to finish saying. That pause, yeah, if you get catch data, yeah, I'm back. Anyhow, right? So, most importantly, when you're trying to find your voice, just breathe. I don't want us to not finish this lesson. The thing about doing, right, the thing that you do the most is the thing that you should be best at, right? But we don't ever practice to breathe. And most of us don't breathe properly. That's why many of us right now, when I'm watching the pictures, plenty of people's shoulders going up and down, so you're not breathing properly, right? And that's something that you're supposed to be doing every day, right? Breathing controls your body, it controls your mind, it controls your emotion, it even controls your spirit, right? You want to know how it controls your spirit? Anytime you want to see if breathing controls your spirit, you stop breathing and see if your spirit's still in you. Right? Stop breathing and check and see if you have a spirit after you stop breathing. Right? But when you're breathing, when we get anxious, what happens? We start to hyperventilate. Right? And so being able to control your breathing allows you to be able to control the way that you project. And projecting is something different from shouting, right? If I'm speaking to you and I find the back of my throat, right, start to scratch, then I'm shouting, I'm not breathing, right? I'm not projecting, right? And in order for you to project properly, you have to breathe properly. So 6 benefits of abdominal breathing, right? And in most acting classes that you go to, they'll have you breathing for months. I don't have that time, I don't have that luxury. You'll learn to breathe on your own time, right? It improves blood and oxygenation, allows more efficient gas exchange to take place, right? And so when you're breathing through your nose, and your stomach's supposed to go out, right? And then, so when you breathe in, your stomach's supposed to go out. When you breathe out, your stomach's supposed to go in, right? So when you inhale, because I am 43, I have a son who is 13, and I have another son who is 18. And I used to play basketball with them, right? They could play basketball for 2 hours. After I score 10 points, I breathe in. And if I don't control that breathing, right, I have no energy to play again. So one of the things that you have to do to master your voice is breathing properly. Good. So quick, I exercise. I want everybody to take in a breath, right? And I'm going to watch you guys, and I'm going to see whose shoulders go up. So I need you all to put on your videos. Yeah? I need to see whose shoulders go up. All right, good. So we're going to breathe now. And I should never see your shoulder do this when you breathe, right? When you breathe in, right, I want you to take in that breath, hold it for 30 seconds, and then bring it out very slowly as if a tire bursts, yeah? So we're going to start. 3, 2, 1, go. Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right, you're going to exhale very slowly now. Like if it's a tire. Through your mouth, and everybody exhaling and the mouth closes. So I don't know how all you're exhaling. You're breathing through your nose and you're exhaling through your mouth. All right? Slow. Slow. Take your time. Right? This exercise will help you when you, especially for those of you all who have stage fright. Learning to breathe properly is very important. Learning to breathe properly is very important. Learning to project is very important, because if you're on stage, you don't have mics, or you're not, right? Not all the time you're going to be mic'd up. So once you're on stage, right, you need to be able to project. Yeah, that's very important. That is very, very important, because one of the things that I find happening a lot is that persons think that a microphone is magic. So when, okay, no pun there for Magic Mike. What happens is that they tend to think that, all right, because I have a microphone, I don't have to project at all, right? So because I have a microphone, right, I don't need to say anything. Good. So we're coming close. All right. Now I'm going to have to pick on some people because I can't do everybody. But I want you all to do this exercise for me, right? All right, so Bernice, I want you to breathe in. And when you're exhaling, I'll take Bernice, Luan, Tash, because Tash vexes me. Tash want to know when this class gone done, right? Bernice, Tash, who I didn't call at all for the day. I called Naja already. Nicole, Hubert. Breathe in for me, please. And when you breathe in, right, and you exhale, I want you to come out and say Joe.
Right? Or while you're exhaling.
So you breathe in like this. And when you're exhaling, say Joe. Right? These are very good warm-up exercises for you all to do at home, right? And it might sound silly, but it's important to do, right? Because you'll find yourself on a stage and people telling you, I don't hear what you're saying. I can't hear you. Especially if you're doing a very, very intimate scene. If you have to do a very emotional scene, what happens is that you tend to exchange emotion for volume. So you get very emotional and then you get very quiet and people can't hear what you're saying. And then they say, I can't hear you. And that's the most embarrassing thing to ever hear on a stage. Good? So, because I don't want too much feedback, all right, we're going to go with the people that I called, right? Because if I put everybody mics on one time, we're going to mash up the place. All right, so 3, 2, 1, go. Breathe in. And out now.
Joe! Oh my gosh.
That Joe, right? That Joe was so quiet. That's supposed to rock my speakers. Why you didn't talk loud? Right,
because we have neighbors.
Let me show the experiment now.
I thought it was loud.
Stop. Everybody right there, right? Go back. Nicole, you go back to that curtain. Who else was talking? Who else had called? Bernice. All right, Bernice, I'll leave you on the bed. Who else? Who else had called?
You called me. Tash.
Who's me?
Tash.
Oh yeah, Tash, man. Tash, I want you go back. Tash, move from in front of that screen there. Nice. Right? 3, 2, 1, go. Breathe in. And I have to hear you. Go. Right. And there was plenty louder.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes? Why? Because of the distance, right?
Yeah.
Now you cannot ever, right, talk on a stage as though you're right there next to that person. Even if you're talking to the other actor who is right there on stage with you, you can't talk as though it's only for that person to hear you. You always have to practice to talk as though when you're on a stage, like if you're talking from the back. Everybody following what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah? So that has to, even when I'm doing assignments for theater now, and it's hard to do online assignments for theater. But when I leave the assignment in the class and you all have to do your monologues, because you'll be doing a monologue for homework, do not do the monologue with the phone right next to you. Right? You see like how Miguel Tasha had to go to the back. I want her to go to the back and do all the monologue. Right? So I must be able to see all of you. Right? All of you. Right? That was actually word there. Right? Quick. So let me go back now.
Can I say something, Stephen?
Yes, baby.
Okay. Doing stage at my church, it's very long. And the director always choose to go right to the back and then to shout, say it so that he can hear me from the back. Now, doing another stage in another building, they're always telling me, Bernice, you're too loud. Tone down, you don't need to speak so loud. So does the what you call the distance, the measurement of the room sometimes will determine that you're too loud or you need to be louder?
Well, you see, volume should never be a problem. I'll explain to you what I mean. If you're listening to a love song on the radio, right? Now, this is a love song. I know. I listen to real old-time music, so give me a contemporary love song. Nikita, give me a contemporary love song. Quick, girl!
I can't think of a contemporary love song.
Give me something.
By Ed Sheeran.
Something by Ed Sheeran. Right. Let me say Ed Sheeran playing on the radio, right? But you really like that tune. What's the first thing that you do? You turn up the volume because you want to hear that song, right? No, you have to be careful. Is it that your tone is harsh as opposed to your volume? Because for somebody to hear you, it's always good. You understand what I'm saying? And when you start doing theater to record, then they're going to mic you. So they're going to mic you because they want to get that audio straight into the sound system. And so my gain is often a lot lower than the other actors because I generally speak loud all the time, right? But when I get louder, I get more aggressive, right? That's different. But once you get louder, it ought never to be a problem. But the thing about it is that as a person who will be skilled in voice acting and theater, if you need to lower your volume, that is something that you could control because you now have the tools to say, all right, if you wanted softer, then I could give you that. I could speak softer, right? But that is something that as an actor, you should be able to control easily.
I have a question.
Right? Yes.
Okay. With this point, right? Could it be that like maybe she was louder than the other actors on the stage? And
yeah, but you see, that is always comparative. If you have somebody who can't project, you can't ask her to be as quiet as the other person. You understand? Just for that other person, the thing. So once it is that volume is within telling the story and it's not affecting the emotion that you're projecting, then there shouldn't be a problem, right? Because I should be able to hear you on stage. I've never gone to a play or hear somebody say, I am hearing you too much. You understand what I mean? Think about it. You never hear, I am hearing you too much. You always hear that I'm not hearing you enough. Yeah? Right, Ollie. Let me just finish. Right. So Joe, okay. Right. So here's what's going on. Okay. Let me come out of here. Right. Okay. Everybody here knows the alphabet. Yes? Yes, everybody here familiar with the alphabet? Good. So here's the exercise that I want you to do. Right? I want you to say the alphabet, and when I call on you, I will call an emotion, and you will give me that emotion in the alphabet. Yeah? So it goes like this. A, B, C, D. Akil, start. Akil. Yeah, I can't hear you. Yeah, I can't hear you.
Right, yeah. Realizing the mic was off. A, B, C, D.
Vex.
E, F.
Angry.
H, I, J, K, L, M,
Sad.
N, O.
Sad. Right, good. So everybody start with the alphabet, and I'm going to call on somebody. Right? I'll try to give persons that I haven't called on before a chance. Right? And we're going on the alphabet. 3, 2, 1, go.
A, B,
C, D, E.
All right, give me In Love, Tanika. In Love, Tanika, I want to hear you. Tanika, whatever, I'm not hearing you, Tanika. Your mic not on. Right. In Love.
Yeah, well, that's a reach.
Keep repeating. Start. A. Start at A.
A.
In Love.
Confused by this name.
B. C. D. E.
Surprise, Maria.
A, B, C, D, E, F.
Continue. I ain't telling you stop.
E, H, I, J,
Suicidal, Naja. Naja, suicidal.
Me? Suicidal?
Yeah.
A, B, C, D, E, F.
Dorian, angry.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Tash, give up.
What?
Tash, give up.
Give up, okay.
Give up.
Tash?
Tash.
Oh.
You die for you not to fall asleep.
B, C, D, E.
Daniela and my boy, two are going to have an argument, right? So A, B, C, D, right? And the other person answering A, B, C, D, right? So you sorry, my boy, Nicola, is Nicola?
Nigel.
Nigel, right. Nigel, you sorry, and Daniela, you don't want to hear that. And all they're using is A, B, C, D.
Sorry, could you repeat that again? He's doing what?
He is sorry.
Oh, you're sorry.
Right? But
Okay.
you don't want to hear that. But all you're using is A, B, C, D.
Okay.
Right? Go.
A, B, C, D, E.
A, B, C, D, E.
F, G.
Yay! All it is A, B, C, D, boy.
Oh, sorry.
All right, okay. Hi, guys. So here's that. That's something that I want you all to practice, right? Emotional alphabet. That's real important. Because when you start doing more and more work, what happens is that we always think that because we have to have a script in front of us, right? And we get so enthralled in the script to use the script as our voice, right? The voice comes from the character. And I want you all not to get so attached to words, right? So if it is, we are in an argument, it doesn't matter, because if you don't understand French and somebody's speaking French to me, right? And they are mad, I could get that they're mad, but I still can't understand what they say. Understand? And you must be able to translate that human emotion outside of just words. Yeah? Okay. All right. Kia, here's what. I want you to say for me, the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. That's what you're saying for me, right? But I want you to emphasize quick. I want you to emphasize lazy. Right? Good. So there we go. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. Let's go.
Quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
Emphasize the word quick. Emphasize the word lazy. Go again.
The quick brown fox. Oh no. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
All right, that was plenty better. All right, I'll give one more person that assignment. Kayla. Kayla in here for the day, so come, let me pick up the assignment there for me. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
Right.
The quick
Go
brown
ahead.
fox. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
Good. Now, you notice with her accent, the way she says dog comes off naturally. Oh God, lazy dog. Yeah? Those are the things that I was trying to show you in terms of having proper pause. When she say lazy dog, you know how she feels about that dog. Yeah? I will ask everybody now to just name one thing that stuck with you or stood out for the class today.
Oh, the fact, well, for me, the fact that I didn't know of the difference where Bollywood is Nollywood and Hollywood is concerned. I didn't know anything about that. I just know Bollywood and Hollywood, and I didn't know as to what category or anything like that they fell under, because, and what I learned about Nollywood, that has to do with the Nigerian aspect of things.
Right.
I wasn't aware of that, and that stood out for me.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. Bernice. Bernice.
Yes. Oh, it was quite interesting with the breathing with the alphabet and the emotions. That was interesting for me.
Okay. Maya, what's your correct name?
My name is Beverly. I will pick
Beverly.
that, right?
Okay.
Yeah. What stood out for me today was that actors, the greatness of an actor depends on how convincingly he could portray a character.
Great. Love that.
Yeah.
Nice. Nikita.
What stood out for me was the use of voice and the sort of like the importance of the use of voice, because when you were giving your story about listening to the radio, at BBC station still has radio plays, and how they put in sound and voice and all of that to tell a story without you being able to use your sense of sight.
Right. Very good. And it accesses the imagination. Luan Hines.
Good night. When you were talking about sound and voice over, etc. on the radio, I was remembering that program Unshackled. I don't know if any of you know it is a Christian program, but sometimes when I listen to that and I hear all the doors slamming, and you know, if the person is violent with the spouse or whatever, you could hear the slaps and you could hear frustrations and anger, happiness, everything in their voices when they're portraying. So, you know, as you were speaking, I started to think about Unshackled.
Okay, great. And that's another thing that as an actor, you have to be very careful, because I'm going to send a link afterwards, why theater. But when we make certain songs, when we make certain, that could trigger memories in people. And like, so for instance, we have a play called The Vicious Cycle that deals with a lot of rape. And so before we ever perform that, we have to let people know that this is what it deals with and this is what it can trigger. Again, as an actor, you cannot abuse that gift. Tanika, quickly. Let's unmute Tanika.
Right, do you hear me? What stood out for me is that the camera is the storyteller in film.
Great, nicely. Kia.
The emotional alphabet. That was, I've never come across the exercise before. It stood out to me.
Okay, great, nicely. Joshua. Joshua. Unmute. Joshua.
Hello?
Yes, yes. Hi, Joshua. That's you.
Good night. Okay, so what I learned, you said the first thing you said was people want stories, and Caribbean stories need to be taught or told. As an actor, you make the audience move, and you also have to use your voice to manipulate tones.
All right, bro. Leave a little note for somebody else now. Oh, God, you go tell everything? All right, thank you. All right, Daniela and Nigel.
So for me, just like here, it was the emotional alphabet. I also have never come across it. And yeah, whenever we argue in alphabet.
Yeah. So anytime you get an argument, you say, hey.
A, B, C.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, my boy.
D, E.
Nigel.
Yeah. For me, it was, well, if you're a good theater actor, then you could do the film, you could do the sound, the voiceovers. I never thought about it before, but it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, great. Ricardo.
For me is that theater acting helps you discover yourself, because I mean that's stories. The thing about stories is that it kind of reflects you onto yourself. So yes.
Okay, Maria.
What stood out to me was when you said that actors have the power to manipulate and make the audience feel something, and we must not abuse that power.
Okay, great. Naja, before you fall asleep.
What stood out to me is what you said about tones and how people associate not just sound, but you said voice and the tones of your voice.
Yeah, especially like you do a lot of storytelling. That's very important. That's very important, and how actors make the words on your page come alive. Quinlan.
Yes, good night. What stand out for me tonight is the importance of sound and how to be familiar with different types of sound so that you can be effective in using them.
All right. Okay, guys, listen, I don't want to force a point, but I'm satisfied that enough of you all got some points. I would love to have a call on everybody. For our first class, I want to thank you all for coming out, you know, and for those of you all who, well, you get a chance, I guess today was my trial to see whether it is you want to be a part of this or not. So I'm hoping that I did well enough that you all will come back next week. Thank you so very much for the opportunity. And I really, it is my intention to see a lot of productions coming out from this class. Right? God bless you.
Amen.
Good night.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you.
Keep good.
God bless.
Thank you so much.